All right. Well, today I'm going to do a little welding. In the past, you've seen some of my past videos and my welding skills or my welds. I mean, they hold, but they were ugly, right? And I've been going at it for a couple of years, two, maybe three, probably just somewhere around 2 years. And I've been using one of the Harbor Freight welders, and I know I had gotten it for I figured it'd probably be one good to learn on and everything, and just using flux core, right? And I just never could get a decent bead. If I did real short little spot welds, choppy stuff like that, it seemed like it would do okay, but it would bulge up, and then I started noticing the feed of the wire, it would pulse. So I was wondering, well, that explains why my welds were real bulgy and blah blah blah, and I kept saying, well, I want to try another welder, and I'm thinking, man, my skills aren't that bad. I don't think, and it had just as much to do with the welder as it did with me, say if it's 50-50. So I decided, okay, it's time to take the next step up. I'm going to try a different welder and see if I can hone my skills down a little bit more and test it that way. So that being said, I ran into a deal, and this is what I picked up. So this, another Craigslist find. I found a guy that was getting rid of this one and upgrading to a larger unit on a trailer or whatever. I mean, he was going heavy duty, and he had used this quite a bit. It's Hobart Handler 135. So it's an earlier model. I think the 140 Handler replaced this one quite a few years ago. But I took a look at it, and it looks to be in really good shape. And it came with the tank, a full tank at that. So I was pretty pleased. I think this will give me something to learn on, where I know it's where I can say well, the mistakes are me, not the machine, right? And I had played around with the settings. The only thing I've done so far, I haven't done any projects with it, but you can see some of my test welds. This is almost like a before and after. I think some of these were already on here from when I was playing around with the Harbor Freight one, and you see how beady and choppy it is. I know there's going to be some slag like that, but look at that. I mean, I just never could get it to bead up. Then as I started going with this one, and I finally dialed it in, tuned it in, as far as the voltage and the wire feed, and boom, I started getting some really good beads here, and then across here. So I was like, okay, I think it's ready for a test project. So this is what I'm going to do today. So in a past video you saw where I had worked on this lift, and I had put some larger wheels on it, and I used some old wheels off of a push mower, but the plastic and everything on it just kind of fell apart and did not work too well at all. So I picked these up, some bigger solid wheels from Harbor Freight, pretty cheap, but the width on them a little too wide, and I tighten them down, squeeze them in there, but there's not enough room for it to roll. So I'm going to remove the outer brackets on each side and moving over a bit so that it'll free that wheel. Yeah, you can see some of the welds there. It held, but you can see how ugly it is. So this will be the first test, really. I just kind of played around with that scrap piece, and I hope those are the same settings. I think I moved them around when I was moving this thing back here. I did have it in the garage tucked away. And then, which is great. So after this, I have a number of other little projects. This little stand here on this power washer. I think part of it came unwelded on the other side. I need to weld it back together. That little green trailer way back there in the corner, I need to replace the tongue on it. What else? I know there's a bunch of other little projects, but at least now I've got a semi-decent welder for the little jobs that I'm going to do. So let's get started. Alright, so I took this part of the frame off the lift, set it up here where I can cut these off. It's an unfinished table. It's pretty sturdy. Yeah, this is another Craigslist find. I don't know how I keep running into this stuff, but apparently they had a lot of scrap metal. They had this and a lot of angle iron, some square tubes, some round tubes. I wish they would have had a plate to go over this, but what the hell? They were moving out of a storage unit and just trying to get everything out of there. I said, yeah, I'll take it. So this is another project. It'd be a decent table, but you can see the corners there. Sure, he might have cut him at 45 degrees, but you can see the problem, right? On the inside of the angle iron has the curve. Well, he was trying to put a pointed edge into the curve, so he never could close the angle there. So up here's okay. So, and luckily he just spot welded everything. Especially down here, they're just spots. So I guess that's another project. I'm going to try to knock these off on the corners and cut the points off so that it'll sit flat against the sides, you know what I mean? But that will happen later. I don't know, maybe I'll do it today, but the main thing is I want to get rid of this stuff, and you can see how nasty that weld is. So let's get her done. Alright, so I just started off. You can see I'm just doing all the prep work, taking the wheels off there, and getting ready to cut those gears off. And here I'm just clamping that frame down onto the table there. And always wear your eyeglasses, of course. You can see I was just cutting the ear off, just the outer brackets, and then preparing trying to clean off the old weld and get everything cleaned off, and did that on both sides. And there I'm just taking paint off of each side, just so I can get a better ground whenever I clamp that down. And that's one thing I did upgrade on that Hobart. I put a better clamp on it. So you can hear, I mean, something's not right. I wasn't getting a very good weld at all. So, what the fuck? Am I not getting a good ground? So I gave it another shot, but yeah, you can tell. I mean, something's not right. Something ain't right. You know what? I'm going to get the practice piece before I go any further. Alright, I'm going to do a couple of practice beads. Maybe, well, I don't know, let's try it. Why is it popping? Let me go down voltage. So by now I was already getting pretty frustrated. Even on the practice piece, I was like, what the hell's going on? It did so much better in the garage. And I thought I had the settings down. But I kept trying, and but you can hear it. It's just wasn't right. Alright, I think I found the problem. It wasn't on the power adjustment on voltage or the feed. It was the gas coming out of the tank. There was I turned it up a bit so that now while I'm welding it goes down to at least 20, and I got a decent bead there. So I'm going to try it again. Yeah, that was much better. Alright, let me get rid of this and we'll get back on it. Alright, so here's the intent. You can see I got the bigger wheels on there now. So it's a little easier to roll around out here in the yard. The other one has the smaller wheels and it's good inside a shop, but this should be much easier to handle. Just don't forget, I am a beginner, but at least I have some decent equipment to learn on now. So. Did I mention I'm a beginner? But that's it for this one. So I'm still learning. At least I have some decent equipment now, and you can see the potential is there. So after a few more little projects and practicing, I think I'll have it under control. I think I should. So I will start on some other projects. There's another, like that little cart. That'll be an easy one to practice on. Yeah, I'm just off the top of my head, I can't remember there. I know there's 3 or 4 or 5 little projects that I can do. So, but we'll see the progress as it goes on. So, yeah. So thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe and watch for my next welding video. Yeah. So I got pretty frustrated there. I thought I'd be doing much better than what happened. I mean, but like I said, there's a few reasons. You know, it could be I didn't have enough gas going on. I was using a pretty long extension cord, so I'll probably switch from that. But you can see out here it's just so peaceful. Really calmed my nerves. I'm so used to having some kind of engine, and I'm in between boats and decided to try a kayak out, and man, it is really peaceful out there. So I'll definitely be doing more of this, but pretty fun.